Everyone, recording started.
I'm letting them in. It's 9:59.
Yes, I'll let them in. Yep, thanks.
Good morning. Thank you for joining our webinar. We're just going to pause for a moment while other
So I'm going to listen to this.
Other people join us. Can you please stay on mute? If you're not on mute already, please go on mute, and we'll get going in just a moment.
But it opens it up all over the place. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So thank you for joining. We'll just be getting going in a moment. If you can please go on mute and stay on mute, that would be really helpful. We'll start the webinar in about 1 minute's time. Okay, the numbers are increasing, so that's really good. So thank you for joining, and please stay on mute. We'll be getting going in a moment. Thank you all for joining. We're almost good to go. Just can see a number of people are still dropping in. So we'll start the webinar very, very shortly. Just a reminder to everybody to go on mute, and please stay on mute during the course of the webinar. I think the number joining is dropping now, so I'll get going in a moment. Okay. So welcome everybody to our Connection Reform Explainer webinar. If we can go to the next slide. Just doing a little bit of housekeeping, as is the norm in these situations. So this session is being recorded and will be circulated to everybody that's attended after the webinar. So as I've been saying, as you've been dropping in, please stay on mute unless you're invited to speak, and that might be during the Q&A, for instance, and that will help maintain a clear audio throughout. Please be mindful that if your camera is on, you're welcome to switch it off if that's your preference, and use the chat function. This is a key message. Please use the chat function to submit questions, and you can do this at any time during the webinar. We really appreciate and we encourage engagement, but please avoid posting anything that's commercially sensitive, as all attendees will be able to view that in the chat. If you're having any technical issues, you experience any problems, please try rejoining. Hopefully that will help, and we'll do our very best to keep to time, and we've scheduled plenty of space at the end of the webinar, in particular for a Q&A session. So who is on the webinar today from Northern Powergrid? Introducing myself, my name is Martin Hardwick, Commercial Manager. Also speaking today is Luke Scott, Customer Manager, and Mark Johnston, our Head of Major Connections. We'll also be supporting the Q&A session. We've got Brad Jobson, Commercial Manager, and Paul McGowan, Connections Business Development Engineer. So just a quick look at the agenda for today. As a reminder, it's the 12th in our series of Customer Explainer webinars, which to date have been received very well. So during today's session, we'll be providing an update on the latest connection reform timescales. We'll also give an overview of the offer process. We'd like to share an update on technical limits and outline the next steps for those projects with a Gate 1 outcome, including embedded demand. And we'll provide an update on our customer service activities and the self-service tools. And as I've already mentioned, we'll be hosting a live Q&A enabling all attendees to ask questions and share feedback directly. We'll also have 2 polls during this session, which very much appreciate your input and feedback during the poll sessions as well. Okay, so I'll hand over to Luke, who's going to take us through the next series of slides.
Thanks, Martin. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see some familiar names on the webinar, and also some welcome to new people who've just joined for the first time. So we'll try and get through these slides. There's a lot to go through. There's a lot to unpack, but we really want to get some time for those all-important question and answer session at the end, because I'm sure there's plenty questions from yourselves. So what we've been doing since the Christmas period, we've been preparing, right? And at Northern Powergrid, we want you to know that we're ready. We're ready and waiting for the NESO to issue out their offers, so we can then get our offers to you as soon as possible. We've got a plan, a delivery plan that all of our key stakeholders in Northern Powergrid are all signed up to, and we're all coordinating through. We've got lots of new processes that have been updated, which changes our internal policies and processes. There's new system deployments. I mean, some have benefited from that when you've been submitting onto our customer readiness declaration portal, or even been using our new Major Connections customer service platform. We've been working hard through many working groups to push the customer's agenda. We've got all our letters, our Gate 1 letters, our Gate 2 letters are all ready and prepared, just waiting for the final touches when we get those contract changes through from NESO. And our design teams and commercial teams have been reviewing the output of the queue, and they're fully resourced and ready to get those offers out. And again, as always, we want to keep you informed. So as soon as we know what the output is from NESO and next steps, then we'll let you know. So next slide, please, Leon. So connections reform timeline. So before we go into that, there's obviously been a delay. And the reason for those delays is because of a business as usual data validation exercise. So this is where the customer sends data to a DNO, DNO sends data to NESO, NESO sends that to the TO, and the TO sends that to an affected TO, a neighbouring transmission operator. So there's a lot of data exchange, and this is just business as usual. This is what happens when we make submissions into NESO. But it's had to happen on a large scale and at pace, which has took some time, so it has delayed. Factored in with the fact that there was more schemes that got through into a Gate 2 position because of protections, particularly batteries. And also we're seeing a spike in demand applications, in particular data centres. So all of this has meant that there was a delay. But we're happy now that NESO has now published the new timelines. So if you could just go to the next slide. Thanks, Leah. Next slide, please. So what I'm showing here is you've all received your notification letters in December. There was a small number of schemes where there was some data corrections need to happen and we needed NESO to confirm. But all our customers should have had an updated notification letter now, which lets them know what phase they're in. So the example on the screen shows a hybrid where they've got 3 technologies. So it tells you whether the customer is protected. It tells you what your capacity is, whether you've achieved Gate 2 or Gate 1, and what phase you're in. As you can see from the screen, if you Gate 1, you don't get a phase. So what the phase means, if you're a protected customer, you'll get your offer in the protected timeline, in line with NISO's timeline. That's when you'll get your offer. If you're a phase 1 customer, you'll get it in the phase 1. And if you're a phase 2, you'll get it in phase 2, which is aligned to NISO's timelines. What this means for technical limit customers, you're still building out in line with your contract agreement with the DNO, but your firm offer will be in line with what you've got in your notification letter. So if you're a technical limits customer who got a notification letter saying phase 2, it means you can build out your technical limits in line with your DNO offer, supplementary agreement for technical limits, but you will not get your offer until phase 2 in line with NISO's timeline. Next slide, please, Leon. Thank you. So I've done a Chevron slide based on what NISO's published on their timeline on their webpage. And there's 3 different colors. So the purple indicates transmission, red being NPG, and we'll have a yellow one, which is indicative at the moment. So we'll start with the transmission gate 1 offer. So back in December, NISO issued out a small number of gate 1s to transmission directly connected customers, not to NPG for us to issue out the embedded. So, and all DNOs haven't received their gate 1 offers yet, but the early indication is that we'll get them very soon, which will allow us to then start issuing them out in mid-March, finishing in mid-June. So every Chevron is a start and an end date of when those offers for that phase will be issued out. And it's the same with the protected. So transmission protected, they're looking to finish and get their offers out by the end of April. And we will start ours in mid-March and looking to end the end of May. If you go to the phase 1, which is your 2028 connection dates up to 2030, transmission will look to get those all out by the end of September. The middle of September. We'll start ours mid-July and we'll get them out by mid-November. And then lastly, for the distribution gate 2, phase 2, which is the connection dates 2031 plus, we'll be starting in mid-October and looking to finalize that by mid-March. So those are the new timelines in line with NISO's timelines published on the website. So what I'm going to hand over to Mark Johnson, who's going to take you through the gate 2 offer process and what that looks like for us when they land from NISO.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Mark Johnston, as Luke says. I'm head of major connections, and what I just wanted to do today is just spend a little bit of time just trying to look at what that offer process looks like. I mean, we're already, as Luke mentioned, well prepared for it with lots of letters for the protected customers that are already prepared, waiting for the information that we receive from NISO to be fully populated and then issued to you. So if we just move on to the high level process, please. Thank you. I mean, what I'd say is the end-to-end process for the issuing of offers that will start imminently as we start to see those NISO offers land for the protected schemes is about a 14-week process, and I'll not go through every single box, but the key, I guess the key points to raise is that we need about 3 weeks or we think we need about 3 weeks to just verify the NISO offer, receive it, check it, do all of those things. We then need a week or so to start issuing the actual offers to customers. Then that gives customers a 4-week window to review the updated offers and accept, and then that allows us a little bit of time at the end to make sure that we go back to NISO and accept our contract with NISO. So I think the key takeaway is it's a 14-week process. But what I also wanted to do was just give you a little bit of a heads up in terms of what that letter contains and its format. So not unexpectedly, it'll confirm points of connection. It'll confirm timescales. Obviously, in respect to point of connection, the protected schemes, firstly, you should definitely be expecting minimal change around the distribution aspects of it. It will set out commercial position both across transmission and distribution, as you would expect. It will include a number of detailed annexes which will cover the transmission securities and payment profiles and construction programme from transmission, if indeed there is any transmission works in relation to the offer. And it will set out, I guess, from a distributor's perspective, it will be an opportunity for us to update our costs for those projects that have not had a cost update in a while. Many of them won't need that because they're already in delivery and they've been updated fairly recently, but all of that will be set out. It clearly will need to provide you what you need in terms of the information to accept, so it'll include the acceptance form and any other information needed. And to the right of the slide, I guess it's just, I guess the summary is the letter's designed to set out formally your Gate 2 status. It's there to confirm what the high level viability of the connections in place, an opportunity for us to refresh and update you in terms of costs and timescales, and obviously the key thing for this is the acceptance to this variation offer enables us to go into full swing on delivery, certainly for the schemes that we're expected to issue in the protected phase. So what do you need to be doing? I would say, look, you need to ready yourself to receive the offer, get things lined up. I'm sure that you will have in terms of reviewing it and contacting us and having discussions where needed around any aspect of it. We're lining our own process up to be able to receive those engagements. You'll need to ensure that you're in a position to put any securities or payments in place ahead of that deadline, and basically help us get everything in place as soon as possible to allow us as much time as you possibly can to make sure that we can go back to National Grid or NESO and enter into the contracts on to ensure that we can continue to progress. So I think that's it from me. Look forward to the Q&As later, but I think I'm moving back on to Luke now.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So so Mark's took you through the Gate 2 offers, and I'm going to take you through the Gate 1. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so I think first one is, if you don't know already, I think we need a bit of a recap on what Gate 1 means. So Gate 1 is where we've submitted your scheme to NESO, and NESO, from their assessment, have determined that it doesn't meet the gated criteria, and they've informed us that you no longer have any transmission system access. So when NESO inform us of that, what all they knows will do is they vary that into your existing contract, and it becomes a Gate 1, which means that you aren't reserving any capacity at distribution or transmission. And what that means for technical limits customers are only eligible to use that process where you have transmission system access. So any technology that has a Gate 1, if it's a hybrid and you've got one that has a Gate 2, and say your solar has a Gate 2 and your BESS has a Gate 1, it would mean that the BESS no longer can proceed on the technical limits. So what it means, though, is you still got an agreement with the DNO, and the next steps for that Gate 1 customer is they can either reapply again. So you can reapply again when the next enduring window opens, but you need to make sure that you meet the readiness criteria, which is land as a minimum, and you also believe that you either meet the strategic alignment or you've benefited from those protections for the 434 process, for the new enduring process. And just on the new enduring window, when that next opens is still under discussion. Some are pushing for it to open sooner. Some are saying, well, it should open in a time period when the offers land. It's after the existing customers get their offers. So it's still very much under discussion, but we'll let you know as soon as that's finalised. So if you just go to the next slide, please, Ian. So for gate 1, we have developed a reapplication process in line with industry. So there's an ANA guidance document, which we've got a link on the slides, and when the slides are sent out afterwards, you'll be able to get straight to that document. But there's essentially 2 options for a customer. There's an option A, which is a full restudy before we make another submission to transmission. Or there's option B, where we carry out a light study, and if there's still the point of connection still available on the distribution, we'll make the same submission as we did before. And that could be on loop until the point that the customer meets the gate 2 criteria. But what we will be doing, if a customer is looking to go again, obviously we'll be having that conversation to think what your chances are of being able to meet that criteria. Option A comes with a bit of a timescale because it takes the DNO on average, or Northern Powergrid on average, just under 3 months to make that submission with everything that's involved. There is a 3-month. So if you think about it, the transmission windows are now opening twice a year. They're 6 months apart and they're open for 6 weeks. So if you're going for option A, we would like that 3 months before the window. If you do want to go for option A and it's less than that, it'll go into the next window. In terms of protection clause 3 as well, just to be mindful, if you have got protection clause, you do have protections from the strategic alignment from the megawatts that's needed, but your point of connection won't be protected, which is subject to change. So just making sure that you're very clear on the 2 options. Thanks, Jan. If you go to the next slide, please. So in terms of refunds, because you've got for a gate 1 customer, because you've still got a distribution offer, those funds are still held. So a gate 1 customer can either make the reapplication to go again if they feel that they're ready and that there's space to do it and they meet the strategic alignment. If you're not and you want to stop the process, you can let us know that you want to cancel or terminate your offer, at which point we will then also refund the distribution offers. But if you gate 1, we will be looking to issue the refund on the transmission costs. So we're ready to do that for those customers that were no gate 1. They're all in place. We're just awaiting the ATVs, which we said is indicative now, but we're looking for from mid-March to get those out when we think they'll land, subject to being confirmed by NESO. And just a reminder, if you haven't seen it already, there is the security freeze, which has been extended. So the freeze has been extended up till the 30th of September, which means there'll be no changes or anything issued in Q1 this year. But cancellation charges still apply. Any customers that have provided a non-cash guarantee will be contacted soon to let them know if they need any updates to that non-cash guarantee, but there's no action needed for those with the cash that's got cash secured. And hopefully there might be some questions on that at the end. So now moving to technical limits. So there's lots and lots of questions around technical limits and what our position is and what the industry position is. So hopefully I'm going to cover that off in the next slide. So as you'll all be aware, the technical limits for all DNOs has been paused across industry while connections reforms taking place. So what that means is any customers who secured a supplementary agreement as an assigned position and have got a connection date, those customers are proceeding as per in line with that agreement. Any that were going through the process are on pause, and any customers are looking to gain from a technical limits, that'll happen after connection reform. One of the reasons being is we need the engineering studies to take place from the TOs to understand what those technical limits look like, with following schemes dropping away, etc. For hybrid schemes where the customer received a gate 1 for a technology and a gate 2 for another, we'll be working through the changes to the supplementary agreement in line with the NESO rules that a customer has to have a firm connection date to be eligible for technical limits. So it means they can proceed on the gate 2 only technology. And if anything changes moving forward, if the industry's in a position to open up technical limits sooner, then we will do. We're still having those conversations internally, but that is the current position. Okay, so we're just moving on to the last part of the slides now, which is around customer service. And this is just a reminder, we have launched our major connections customer service web form, where you can log any inquiries you have. And basically this helps us to help you. So if you just move to the next slide. Yeah. Yeah. So what we have, we've got a link to the web form at the bottom. Any customer inquiries, we want them to go there. This helps we'll manage them and keep them all in one place and keep a track of who's doing what. Everybody's very, very busy in during this period because of connections reform, and sometimes emails can go at the bottom of the queue, whereas this means we can keep track of them and make sure that your query gets answered. So it's a nice and easy service. It logs in, it keeps a track of your inquiries, so you can go back and check the updated status. We're looking to do that. We're looking to aim to get them all responded and resolved within 10 working days. There are some queries which ultimately go to NISO, which can take longer, but obviously you'll be notified of that when you make your inquiry. So please continue to use that because it's been working well and it's been helping us to help you. And if we just go to the next slide on the self-service tools, previous webinars, we've had lots of questions in around updating the ECR. So the ECR is up to date and we've aligned our Gate 2 information with the ECR. But what you've got to remember is the ECR is a regulatory document. We have added our Gate 2 and Gate 1 schemes in there, but we haven't been able to label them, which is unfortunate. So it might make it difficult for customers to establish which ones are Gate 1. However, Fraser, who's on the call, is taking this to the ECR regulatory group to try and get some changes to make it more user-friendly for customers. But what we've done in the meantime is we've created a GSP QView, which you can find on our open data pool. We've got the links on here on the slide that'll take you exactly to where you need to go. So there's a link to the open data pool where you can see all our catalogue of data. You've got a link to the ECR, straight to the ECR, and a link to the GSP QView where you can see all of the Northern Powergrid schemes and their queue positions. And what we have got, what we're working on, is our new major connections pipeline tool, the upgrades, where you can see the headroom at the GSP and the capacity at the GSP. You can see if it's technical limits enabled. And you can also see the status of your applications from acceptance through to submission and into a contractor position. And that should be launched at the back end of March. So, and that will be available on the transmission interface page. We're just waiting for a security sign off before that gets launched. Okay, over to you, Mon.
Yeah, thank you. So we've now got to the exciting part where it's a bit of audience participation. So we'd really appreciate your feedback. We're about to launch some polls, and the key questions are: where do you just the windows just crossed over in front of my where do you think we can improve? What kind of engagement would you like more of? And are there any other topics that you'd like us to explore further? So please dive in and give us your feedback. It's really, really appreciated. It's the kind of thing that steers us to the next webinars, the content of the explainers. So so please go ahead and give us your feedback now. The next one's just been launched, which is what kind of engagement would you like more of? Got well over 100 people on the webinar, so I'd hoping we can get a similar number of responses. So please dive in. Thank you for everybody that's contributing. Please carry on with your feedback.
The polls will remain open, so you can check them in the chat function.
Yeah, so they're not closing. You can continue to access them. And the next question in the poll is: are there any other topics you'd like us to explore further? So thanks for the answers that are already coming in there. We'll definitely use this information to shape future engagement.
Discuss those topics in the future webinars.
Okay, the screen's changed. I'm not sure what we've lost the slides. Hopefully they'll be back any moment, but please carry on with the polls whilst we recover the slide deck. I think we're experiencing a slight technical issue with the slide deck. Is it just me that can't see it?
Is Liam there?
I think Leanne's in the background, Mon. She's looking to share the slides again, just to
It's going
restart the
live
sharing.
again. All right. Apologies for the slight delay, but anybody might suggest that we orchestrated that to encourage more focus on the polls. But I can assure you, it's just opportunistic. Okay, so I think we can move on. Thank you for all of your input to the polls. Feel free to carry on giving us any more feedback whilst we move on to the Q&A session.
Thanks, Martin. I'll take the Q&As. Good morning, everyone. And I can see everyone started to ask some questions in the chat, so please continue to use the function if you have any further questions. We will try and answer as many questions during today's webinar, and thank you for the ones that have been pre-submitted. We'll get into those in a second. If we run out of time or can't answer your question, we will follow up that with you individually. And while we will be answering questions during the webinar, the topic's complexity may lead to misunderstandings. Therefore, the formal written responses to the Q&A sent out after the webinar are the official MPG answers. If we could go to the next page, please, Leanne. So the first pre-submitted question we have is, please can MPG update customers with technical limit offers for connections in 26-27 in terms of when we will receive the Gate 2 offers? So the firm connection offer will be issued in line with the NISO timescales, and you should be in receipt of the technical limits offer interim in advancement. They will be issued at different time periods. We explored options for doing this earlier for technical limits projects, but this is not possible due to NGET restudy timescales at present.
Brad, Martin, just before we go to the next question, look, we're not going to answer the questions in the chat and reply in the chat, but because we're going to reply live. But if any customer wants a bit more elaboration on the question that they've submitted, please raise your hand, and we're happy for you to come in, and we'll elaborate more on what you've asked. Sorry, go on, Paul.
No problem. So the next question was around DCP 461 and CMP 460 in terms of Northern Powergrid's view on those. So we don't support adding the transmission-related reinforcement costs. So the reason for that is around billing and the location signals. So the DCP 461 proposal keeps the current approach, strengthening licence requirements and applied consistently across the DNOs. So the CMP 460 we see is the right place to address these costs because they originate back at the transmission level.
And question 3, customers advisors were given an incorrect phase 2 designation for a 2027 protected project and were invited to make a complaint through our Northern Powergrid portal and report that nothing's happened since. What happens next? So The update for that customer and anybody else affected is all customers received notification letters in December. A small number of schemes required additional data validation and some confirmation with NISO, and that process has been completed. So anyone affected should now have been notified accordingly. So that should be fully addressed now.
So next question we have is, if the gate 2 variation letter is incorrect and or inaccurate, what are the mechanisms for challenge? Will a clock stop, or will we have 4 weeks to accept/reject? What happens if we accept an incorrect offer? So if the variation letter contains factual errors, be that capacity, technology, land rights, etc., you can request a correction. These are treated as administrative corrections, not disputes. So under the current connections reform framework, the customer's got 4 weeks to accept or reject the gate 2 variation letter. This 4-week period continues to run even if you raise a challenge, unless MPG, the TO, only so explicitly pauses the process, which is not always guaranteed and is quite rare.
Brad, it's worth saying as well, right? When the offers land, so for embedded customers, the offers land with MPG first before we then send them to yourselves. So we will be vetting, verifying, and making sure they're fit for purpose from our side before they even land with yourselves. And some of the plans that we're discussing is that we're trying to get tri-regional meetings together with NISO and NGET and ourselves, so we can get in a room and ensure that the offers are right first time before they come out. That's what we're pushing for, and we're hopeful that will happen. But obviously, we'll let you know about that at the time. But it's just important to know they land with us first. We do the validation, and then we send them over to yourselves. And then if there's issues with what we validated, then obviously we'll need to address them.
Thanks, Luke.
Okay, question 5 is around gate 1 offers. Obviously, Luke's gone through this in a bit of detail in his slides, but this is around, I guess, refunds and also the timelines of receiving the offers and receiving any payments. So I guess high level, there's no action needed by anyone at the moment. The security refunded amounts and the details have been prepared, and these will be returned as soon as possible after we get the gate 1 offers issued. And these will be sent again. We'll do our checks internally and get them out. And again, the indicative timelines we went through earlier, sort of coming up now for March, and then between May to get these reviewed and then issued between March and June. But again, the timescale subject to change.
And if you're I guess if you're a gate 1 customer now, and you know that from your notification letter, and you don't think you want to proceed again into the gate 1 reapplication to apply for transmission, then it may be worth engaging with your SPOC, your single point of contact, to start the cancellation process at distribution if that's your option. But again, it's up to you. Obviously, you've got the gate 1 reapplication process to go.
Yeah. Can I just come in on the back of that, Luke, just to reinforce that message? Because if there is anybody there that is sitting on gate 1s and do want a full refund of not only the transmission stuff but the distribution payments that they've paid, it would be better for them to ask us to do that earlier rather than later, just in terms of our ability to turn that type of thing round as quickly as possible. So I'd just encourage people to definitely reach out to your SPOC, whoever's managing the project, and have that conversation, please, and try and have it as early as possible, because it would just help everybody, and it would help us to help you, I guess, in terms of returning those funds.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, I'll pick up question 6. So which GSPs are capable of being moved forward early for Gate 2 Phase 2 protected projects that may be able to connect early due to revised Appendix G? Can information be issued before the revised offer issue date? The answer on that one is we're waiting for the TO's engineering studies, and that will answer the question if any schemes can advance. And we'll get this information when the offers land in line with the NISO timescale. So that's fairly clear cut, is that one?
More on that. Does that cover the question for the customers on the call? Because if not, does anybody want to come in and ask anything on that question? Does anyone want to elaborate on that? Just want to make sure that it's clear for our customers. Okay, we'll take the pauses. Let's move to the next one.
Brad, you're on mute.
Thanks, Martin. I'll take question 7. So can you provide an update regarding the CMP 434 window? So as of yet, the CMP 43 window hasn't been confirmed. It's been worked through with industry, and hopefully we'll be able to update you and confirm you of this date soon.
There is a decision on that though. If anyone was on the NISO webinar yesterday, it's around, do they go sooner? Yeah, so do we open it very, very soon? Or do they go a little bit later? I guess it would, how would people feel that if a new application got their offer before, say, the phase 2 customers got their variation to the existing? So that's the kind of conversation that's taking place. I guess we're happy to wherever the customers decide, but that's the kind of conversation that's going on.
Thanks, Luke. So the next question's in relation to tech limits projects, with connection dates 26-27, and it's around should engagement with ICPs and DNOs on the construction works begin now, even though the Gate 2 offers are due in March 2027. And it's yes, should look to proceed with tech limits projects.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I guess that's saying those customers who got a technical limits agreement now with the DNO, you're in a signed position on the supplementary agreement. You continue as normal. That's, you know, you're building out, and you might get your offer, and you might be the customer with technical limits, and you good chance you're getting your offer in phase 2 for your Gate 2. But yes, you should be building out on your technical limits, and then you'll receive your offer in the phase 2.
I can
think
see we've got a
Dean,
There's a
Dean,
hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, good morning,
Dean,
everybody. Yeah, just following on that question, we've got a Gate 2 phase 1 protected 26-27 offer, but we also have TL's accepted offer as well. Will we still receive our offer between March and May 2026 this year? My concern is that somebody at NISO, so I'm not putting anything past NISO at the minute, somebody at NISO could have the TL superseding the protector status.
I don't understand that last part, Dean. So you've got a technical limits offer now, yeah?
Yeah.
And
But we've got a protected offer, which is, you know, which is a 26-27 protected offer. We do also have TLs. So my main question is, will we still receive our NISO offer between March and May this year?
What is your firm connection date?
27.
27.
Well,
So
that's
you
the offer we've got from MPG at 2027. Yeah.
Yeah, for your technical limits.
Yeah.
And what's your firm connection offer? So that's your technical limits advance. So basically you'll be building out to your 2027.
Yeah.
If you've got a phase 1 offer for your firm, you'll get that in the later date in line with the timelines. So you can build out your technical limits now in line with your agreement with NPG, and then you'll receive your variation for your firm connection in line with the NISO timeline phase 1.
So but the firm connection is going to come from NISO, isn't it? Yeah, the enduring period. So my question is, are we in the March window, March-May window for the actual NISO offer, or are we in the is it the October window?
So you're in the sorry, 2 seconds. If I just
Because
go
we've
to
got a
the
protected Gate 2 phase 1 26-27 offer from MPG, as well as technical limits, because everybody went to technical limit what, 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
So my question is, we therefore should be in the March to May 2026 window.
Yeah, so your phase 1 will come in July. So your firm offer will come in July in line with the timelines, because NISO's got to issue the offer to us, and we've got to then vary it and bring it and then issue it to you for your firm. But you can build out now within your technical limits offer that you've got for 2027.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you,
pick
thank
up Question 9, I think, is the next one. So how does NPG expect to implement technical limits post-connection reform? Will Northern Powergrid offer a non-firm enduring option for projects to connect under their original GSP where firm capacity is unavailable and technical limits isn't applicable to a new GSP? So we will restart technical limits and make offers to projects that meet the necessary criteria. And currently, technical limits is the only option for delivering non-firm. There's no other enduring option than A&M for schemes below 5 megawatts.
I'll take question 10. So how will the mod-up process work after the connections reform process is complete? How will new connections be managed, and how can customers challenge or query mod-up responses? So embedded customers can apply to NPG all year round. The submission window for NISO is going to be gated, and there's 2 a year, to which Luke alluded to a little bit earlier. And NISO is going to publish those in advance of those windows opening. So this creates predictable cycles for network planning and reduces the first come, first serve pressure that previously overwhelmed the system. In terms of queries or customer challenge, the first route will always be to request clarification directly. So many of these issues, such as data errors or misinterpreted evidence, can be resolved informally.
And question 11 is around phase 1. So if we receive the phase 1 contract late, can we still energise in 2027? And the answer is yes. If the offer contains a connection date of 2027, then yes.
And picking up question 12, is NPG going to publish an updated ECR, including all Gate 2 and Gate 1 outcomes? And the answer is yes. The information is complete. It's available on our open data portal. However, the way that the ECR is populated is set out in DCUSA. And as a result, although Gate 1 projects are included, they're not explicitly labelled, which makes it challenging to understand what is actively reserving capacity and which schemes aren't. The governance group is currently looking to provide greater clarity on this going forwards. And I would invite, if that answer isn't sufficient to the person that asked the question, please raise your hand. There are people on this this webinar that can answer any specific questions.
I'll take question 13. So what are the timescales for projects that are Gate 2, have protected status, an original 26-27 connection date, but have been allocated phase 2? Will they be issued under the protected or phase 2 timescale? So the offers will be issued in line with the NISO timescales and in line with the phase you received in your notification letter.
Okay, question 14 is why are updated LIFO stack positions being delayed despite the Gate 2 notifications being sent? So this is around information on funder engagement and curtailment expectations. So we're in the process of reviewing the impact in relation to the NISO reformed queue and the impact that's having on the distribution network. We see there being minimal change, and those customers who have changes to costs will receive them in the revised offer letter. So we're maintaining the LIFO stack order at distribution as is.
And just picking up the, oh, we've got a Floris. Does that question relate to question 14?
It does, yeah. It's not my question, but I'm not sure I understand the answer. Because there might be Gate 1 projects ahead of you in the queue. So how can you not update the LIFO stack?
Yeah, I think what we mean by that, Floris, is so there has been some requests to say, well, if a distribution customer who's got a Gate 2 is sitting behind another customer with a Gate 2, right, at distribution, and if once they're submitted a transmission define that the dates are swapped round at transmission, will we look to update and swap that capacity at distribution? And our answer is no. We will still be maintaining what we initially quoted in our distribution offer. So they still get rights to the capacity. However, we'll always look to connect the customer sooner, yeah, using the A&Ms and what have you. So this isn't about gate one. Yeah, we're reviewing the queue. So as the queues come out and as gate ones, we're looking at how that has an impact on distribution, and we're changing it to suit. However, whoever's got gate two won't lose what they reserved at distribution, is what we're saying.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
No worries.
Okay, so just picking up the last question in the pre-submitted, will projects that previously received but didn't accept a technical limits offer be able to receive a new one following the gate 2 offer? And the answer is yes. In fact, we're actually planning how we reopen technical limits. We were expecting to do it sooner than we're going to be able to do it because of the NISO timeline. But yes, we will invite expressions of interest prior to restarting technical limits at the appropriate point aligned to the timeline. I thought that was the last question. I've got another page. Sorry.
Just another couple, Martin. So please provide an update on technical limit offers previously accepted for non-firm connections in the next 2 years, but later given a gate 2 phase 2 notification. When should customers expect an update? So the answer is the technical limits connection should proceed, which will provide interim network access until the reinforcement works are completed.
Yeah, because this question's coming up. This is what we covered off with Dean, right? So when you've got a firm offer and you're sitting behind reinforcement at transmission, and you've looked to get the technical limits, you get your advanced connection date, your accelerated connection date through your technical limits scheme if you're in a signed supplementary agreement. So what we're saying is that technical limits date which you receive from NPG on your supplementary agreement, you're building out in line with that date. But your firm offer, which is stuck behind transmission, with the date out typically beyond 2030, you will receive that offer in line with the timeline. So if you're a phase 1 with a transmission connection date of 2028 to 2030, then you're going to receive your offer in anywhere from July to November, in line with the Chevron slide. If you're a 2031 plus for your firm offer, then you're going to get that later in the October into Q1 2027. As an ISO will land into us and we issue them to you. But your technical limits date, you can still build out in line with that connection date agreed with MPG. I hope that's clear.
Okay, so question 17, it's relating again to gate 2, passing through in December 2025, and their new contract would be issued by NISO by 31st of March, so looking for an updated date on when that will be received. So again, we've been through that and covered it in terms of the slides, and you've also had information on phase confirmation in the notification letter. These phases have been updated and they're published on the NISO connection reform timeline webpage. And again, we've been through sort of the updated timeline and the status as is understood at the moment, and we'll continue to communicate the changes with that.
Martin, I would move down into probably question 20, then move into the chat. Just to give people a chance in the chat, for conscious of time, that's all.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. So the question 20, will milestone payments, capital contributions or one-off works be refunded, similar to securities, if a gate 2 offer is not accepted and reverts to a gate 1 offer? So if a scheme's redesignated to gate 1 following transmission entry assessment, the customer still retains a valid contract for distribution connection. If the customer no longer wishes to proceed with that distribution offer, they will need to formally request cancellation, and upon cancellation, we'd assess the distribution related costs incurred to date and refund any unspent distribution costs.
So I'll move to the questions in the chat, and the first one we've got is, for projects triggering a new GSP, will the new GSP location and the new point of connection, if required, be confirmed in the Gate 2 offer. So I'll start with this one, Luke. So it's my understanding that the new GSP will be reflected in that offer in terms of point of connection. I don't know if there's anyone, Mark, if you'd want to confirm.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
so I can take.
I think that I mean I'll have a go at the second bit, mind, in terms of GSP location, because I'm not sure personally how much detail there will be in terms of the specific location of that GSP. I don't know if Luke or anybody else has got a build on the back of that, but I certainly think we can confirm that we will be confirming that a new GSP is required, but I'm not so sure on the specific location.
Yeah, so at the moment, your any new GSP is currently a node. Yeah, it's not specific as Mark says. But the answer to the question, will you get it in your updated offer to know if you're at a new node? The answer is yes, and that won't happen until the engineering studies have taken place, which are due to start, and then the offers are issued. But yes, it'll include it in the Gate 2 offer.
Thanks, Luke.
Okay, again, so it's in relation to Gate 2 offers. If a project gets an offer again for a new GSP, and over time there's projects ahead that drop out of the queue and then free up capacity at the existing GSP, would the offer at that stage then be updated and go back to the existing GSP?
You want me to take that, Paul? Yeah, so if we're in the current period, if the engineering studies take place now, and the NISO then determine and the TOs determine that there is space available ahead, those customers will move ahead and potentially back to the old GSP. But again, it's all subject to the engineering studies taking place, and NISO will confirm.
And I agree. And just to come off the back of that, that's definitely the case while we're going through this period of redesign. I can't say to you that will be the case on an enduring basis, because I don't think that there'll be a continuing dynamic look at redesigning things. But I mean, we don't quite know what NISO will do in the circumstances, I guess. But we should expect that benefit is, if you want to put it like that, is done through as we go through the next design phase. But don't expect that continue to happen over the next few years.
So
Okay,
how?
thanks.
So does that mean then? Sorry but does that mean then that basically, if capacity does free up on that GSP, it will be new projects applying in any enduring Gate 2 window that might kind of benefit from that freed up capacity, rather than projects that previously were on that GSP but are now, as a result of Gate 2 to whole queue, moved to a new GSP.
I mean, it's one for NISO, I think, but go on, Luke.
Yeah, no, so Floris, at the moment, I think that's the position of NISO. So we're in this stage where the engineering studies will happen and customers will benefit from it. But when it's all said and done, and customers have got their offer and they're in a signed contractual position, then any gaps will be for new applications and new projects.
Right.
And just to come in there from a distribution perspective, it's the way we'd always view it historically would be that if you're in contract for something, then you're in contract for something. And as the network changes over time, which it always does, you shouldn't expect that those benefits would always flow back, because I mean, it feels very simple to say that should happen as a principle, but in practice, it's somewhat impossible.
Okay. Yeah. Understood. Thanks.
Okay, keeping us moving. This might be for Luke or Fraser, just to put you on point, but we've mentioned it already with the ECR, but do you plan to publish an anonymized version of the grid queue as per NGED's Clearview reports?
Yeah, so as per the slides, we've now created that GSP view. so customers can go and access it. The slides are coming out afterwards. You can go on the open data portal now on our website and access that. That's now open. It's all live. And then, as I said, that will be superseded by the major connections pipeline tool, which is due in March.
Thanks, Luke. I'll take the next question, and that is, when restudying the network against the revised queue, should the opportunity to present a connect at a lower voltage level, for example, can accommodate the same capacity at 33 kV rather than the current 132, will that be offered to the customer as the most efficient point of connection irrespective of voltage change? Enged said yes to this yesterday on their webinar. So Mark or Luke, this might be one you guys can help with.
Yeah, I think it's similar to the answer to the previous question. I think we will be doing a design assessment as we go through this process, and there is complexities in terms of changing points of connection because you start joining different queues on the distribution network. So I would suggest that what we do is we take that on a case-by-case basis. And certainly as we review the process through this year, we should expect to see some design changes, albeit we generally think that those will be minimal. But I'll refer back to my previous comments about how much redesign and subsequent redesign we'll do then over coming years. Luke, have you got anything to add to that, or anything where you just want to keep me straight?
No, I agree, Mark. The only changes we're making to schemes of distribution is very, very minimal, and it's for schemes where a technology's dropped away, for example, or they through this process they've lowered their megawatts through the submission process. So, but there's only minimal changes. So we are reviewing it, but it's minimal changes.
Yeah, it's the obvious things, and it's where the changes that we expect the changes to be quite minimal. I think that's the message.
Okay, so I think the next question, have I just jumped ahead of the queue? I'll take it anyway. Does NPG intend to wait for all Gate 2 offers from the last window to be issued and accepted before assessing Gate 2 applications from the next window, whenever that may be?
No. I'll take that one.
So
No, right. So I know there's discussions ongoing around when the 434 window will open, the next window, but we're already scoping out the changes to our customer readiness declaration portal, and whenever the window opens, we're going to open our portal, a few months before. So it gives the customer a chance to submit, and also gives us a chance to review and assess and provide feedback and support on your submissions prior to the window opening, us making the submission to NESO. Rod?
Oh.
But if Brad's talking on mute.
Effective.
Yeah, I think you're on mute, Brad.
So I'm having difficulty with my headset. Can you hear me there?
Yeah,
you're coming through.
Thumbs up. Yep, thank you. So the next question is, does the Ofgem response regarding update on delays to connection dates for some TMO4 plus protected projects affect projects with a protected 26-27 connection date under technical limits offer? So Martin, that might be one you can help with.
Well, I'm reading and rereading the question, and I'm not
Martin,
sure.
I can take it. So Martin, I can take it. So we're waiting for confirmation on which protected ones may be impacted. Our initial assessment is we don't think there's any, but we've gone back with a few points and challenged NESO on some of the information they've sent over. And what I will say though is we're ready in a response for any customers who will have changes, and if there's no changes, we'll also communicate that to protected customers. So we're reviewing it. But sorry, I'll caveat that with we're reviewing it. We're looking to conclude that like early next week.
Thanks, Luke. So there was a question from Cameron Ward. I think we skipped over it, and it was around timescales for offers. I mean, I don't know, is that being covered now with the information that we presented in the other questions, or do you have any specifics around that?
I think we've covered it. I would say whatever's in your notification letter and what you've received, and then line that up with the chevron slide. But if we're still having difficulty, because I just want to open up for more questions, because I think we've covered this. If you're still having difficulty, please raise a query or speak to your SPOC, and we'll come back to you just to help you understand what it is, because it is a complex process.
Okay, I'll take the next one, and I think we've answered it. I think there was a slide dedicated to this. So the question from Jonathan. So distribution customers have 30 days to accept an offer. What's the process for dealing with incorrect or inaccurate offers? NISO said there is no clock stop. So look, I'm going to suggest that we've answered that. There was a slide dedicated to it. If our slide didn't answer the question, please let us know.
But Martin, I think just to put a line under it is, if there's a fundamental issue with the offer, and we agree there's a fundamental issue, MPG agree that there's an issue there, then obviously we need to take a look at it. We cannot not proceed unless we take a look at it, and that's the answer.
I think it's the reinforcing the fundamental is the key for me. I mean, we're not going to be able. There'll be some issues that, there's a potential for some of those issues, and some questions to be still outstanding. But if they're not fundamental, we should look to meet the timescale, and then we'll deal with those as we run through. So I think it's the fundamental that's the key thing.
Thanks, Mark. I'll take the next question, and this one may be a one that Martin or Luke can help with. And are MPG intending to issue new/updated technical limit offers to existing customers already with signed technical limit offers? Will these be coming out with the Gate 2 offers or earlier?
Yeah, I don't mind taking that at all. So if you've already got a technical limits offer, which you've accepted, as Luke said earlier, please press on and build. There's nothing to stop you from doing that. However, if you, for instance, have a hybrid project that's getting a Gate 1 and a Gate 2, for the different technologies, then obviously we will need to do something with the supplemental agreement that you've signed with us, because we'll have to remove the access to technical limits for the element that gets a Gate 1. So, but if it's as simple as you have a technical limits offer, you're building out, your Gate 2 is confirming that, then the thing that we would expect to do is, after connection reform, is provide you with updated information rather than a new offer, and that would most likely include an updated curtailment report based on the new queue.
Guys,
just in terms of time, oh sorry Luke, I think you're just about to do the same as Ray. I was just going to say, just in terms of time, we've gone 5 past, so I think it might be worth taking any additional questions in the chat away.
Thanks, Leon. Yep. I think, Martin, if we move into the next slide, which is our polls.
Yep, it's poll time again. So thank you, and please engage in the way that you did before. So, how relevant did you find the content on a scale of 1 to 5, and how engaged have you felt during the webinar? And also, we'll be asking on a scale where extremely dissatisfied is 1. Hopefully we don't have too many of those, and 10 is extremely satisfied. How satisfied were you with today's session? So please watch out for those popping up on your screen, and provide us with your feedback. That would be great.
Yeah, this isn't just a tick in the box, everybody. We really appreciate your feedback. It allows us to do more. If you're happy with the webinars and you're happy with the Q&As, it indicates to us that you want us to do more. It helps us to shape and change them. So please fill them in. It's much appreciated.
Yep. So the polls are continuing to pop up there. So please give us your feedback.
Just as a reminder for everybody who's submitted questions, look, they won't go unanswered. We will be responding with a Q&A that will circulate after, along with the slides and the recording. So don't worry if you've still got a burning question. And you put it in the chat, we will answer those in the chat. And if you feel afterwards, you know, there's something else I should ask there, then please use our web form. You know, it's not going to a black hole, as I said. It will get answered. So I promise we'll get a response to you. There's so many topics to cover in the wonderful world of connections reform.
Okay, and please let us know your key takeaways from today's session. Hopefully that poll has appeared on the screen in front of you. See the answers dropping in. Thank you for the feedback. We do appreciate the feedback. So if you can take the time, I can see a few more responses dropping in there now. So thank you again. And I think those polls will stay active as we move through to the wrap up of the session. So Luke, when you're ready.
Yeah. So I want you to get the message that we are ready. So at Northern Powergrid, we're ready and prepared. We are waiting those NISO offers landing, so the contractual changes landing with us that allows us to do the variation. But in the background, Northern Powergrid are ready. We're here to support you, through webinars like this, or even through inquiries or emails directing to us. We're always here to support, so don't be afraid to get in touch. I guess just a little of what's coming next, aside from the generation connection reform, with Ofgem have now raised a consultation for demand. So I encourage you to get on there and fill that in. We'll also be finalising the industry ANA demand and requirements document, which aligns with the generation to support customers that are ready to go through, to progress. NISO will shortly be launching the CMP 434, so the new enduring window for new applications, which looks to amend the current methodologies. So keep an eye out for that. They haven't officially set a date, but I know it's the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And again, as I said, all these questions are really, really helpful. They're helpful for us because we're attending many industry working groups, which allows us to then put the challenge in where necessary to make sure there's a good output for our customers. And just to say finally, a big thank you. So we appreciate your continued engagement and your support, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next webinar or next engagement. Thank you.